Good morning, y'all. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as I can. Get through this gloomy, terrible Wednesday morning under his eye. Anyway, I told you about a month ago that I was considering seeing a psychic medium, somebody that can connect with the departed. And obviously, y'all know why. So I did my research and was kind of looking through different mediums or whatever, reading hundreds and hundreds of reviews or whatever. And then when I decided on someone, before I booked this person, I blocked them on social media. I booked under a different name. I didn't want them like Googling me and seeing any information. But even if they had to Google me, some of the information that, she would have Googled, it was very vague, even if she had been able to Google me. So anyway, I booked this person. I went to see them last Wednesday. I didn't say anything then because I wanted to talk to Mikey's grandparents first before I shared anything, because they don't know details either. But anyway, so she said she didn't have control over who came through. The first person that came through was apparently a great-grandfather of mine. I don't know who this great-grandfather was. So all the information she was giving me about him, I was like, I don't know this man. After I left the reading, I did call my granny and gave her vague information, like, do we know a man that worked in a warehouse? Did he drive this type of car? Did he do this? Did he do that? And then she confirmed all of that. So the great-grandfather that this medium brought through was, accurate. I just don't know the man, but my granny confirmed all of this. She said typically when an ancestor comes through is because they have to bring through either a newly departed soul or a child or somebody who's very shy who won't talk a lot. So I'm like, no, none of that applied to me. I mean, in my mind, it didn't. So he says he's bringing through a little boy. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Because I don't know a little boy that's died. And she said, but when I say little boy, I'm saying little boy as far as his relationship to you. He's not necessarily a little boy. I'm seeing a progression. So little boy, and now this person, if I had to guess, is 20s, 20-something-year-old male. It kind of got to me a little bit, but it was still too vague. So I was like, tell me more. She's like, do you know a little boy that passed? And I was like, you tell me. Because I was very skeptical, very vague, would not answer her questions. I was always, I don't know. That's your job. You tell me. And she was just writing down words and circling things. And she was like, he's showing me visionary, revolutionary, maybe a poet. And I was like, And she was just saying other things. And she was like, so this doesn't ring a bell to you? And I was like, no. And she said, I'm sorry, but he is insisting that he's your son. So of course that kind of got to me. My heart started racing, but I'm like, that ain't enough. Whatever. I said, what is this son telling you about me? Telling you, that's not enough for me to just confirm or deny anything. Maybe I did lose a son. And she said, no, he's insisting that he is your son, not just a little boy that he's saying he's your son. I'm like, okay. So she said he was a visionary and he had a lot of written material. She's like, he's showing me a bunch of books, notebooks with a bunch of stuff in it that he wrote down. Mikey did have a bunch of notebooks with all his music in it. But I was like, I don't know. I guess he did. And so she said, well, when somebody dies, your grandfather, passed of organ failure, natural things. She said, but this person, if somebody has to insist on telling me how they passed, that means it was a traumatic passing, a homicide, suicide, maybe even an unsolved crime. And I was like, okay. And she's like, so he has to share this with you. So I don't know what you know or what you don't know, but he wants to share it with you because he says that you want to know, but you've been afraid to know. And that's true. I don't know any details about what happened to Mikey that day. I don't think my heart could have handled knowing things. In my mind, I kind of assumed that certain things happened. And of course there are rumors, but I didn't know for sure what happened that day. But for his own sake, I guess he had to share it with me. She said she saw projectiles. She said, I'm going to say bullets. So I'm like, okay. She's like, is that how he died? I said, I don't know. And she said, okay. So he's showing me here, Mom. He's saying here. Whatever took him, the wound that killed him was here. That is, I do know from his death certificate that Mikey, I'm sorry, okay. The wound that killed him was on his left side. But she said he was shot more than once, but it was the left side that killed him. So that was accurate. I know that was not on the news. I know at some point I said it on Facebook, but I don't know if she would have went back a year and a half and found that, but whatever. So it was still, that's not enough. She said that he's saying he was in an altercation prior to everything happening because he's showing me pulling at his shirt and having words back and forth with somebody with some very dark eyes. And he's just saying that no matter what happened that day, he would have, this man would have killed him. There was nothing that he could have done differently, and you know that this was going to happen. I do know from a conversation that Mikey had that morning with one of his cousins that he said he was, you know, somebody was wanted to kill him, so he was afraid. So I knew that he was like he had already thought this was going to happen. Anyway, he said that it was an altercation and it happened so fast that he didn't feel anything, that it was like he just felt an adrenaline rush from the altercation, and then he felt numb right here. And then he said the next thing he know, he just kind of got cold for a second and he was gone. He was like, it was like minutes, Mom, just minutes. Mikey's death certificate said the technical term for like bleeding to death from this side, and then it said minutes. And I remember saying, like, how long was minutes? Like, how long did it take? And he said it was like less than 5 minutes, that he didn't feel anything but the adrenaline rush, and then he kind of went numb. And then the next thing he knew, he was sitting on the ground next to himself. He said he sat next to himself after it happened because he was in shock. And he just was like, she said he was doing this like this never should have happened. Like he was in shock himself that this even happened, and that he was gone like that. He said that he did lay there for a couple of minutes and nobody tried to help him, and that it was bystanders nearby and they called EMS, but nobody intervened because of guns being involved. He did acknowledge that he did have a gun, that he never fired the gun, that the safety was on. He has never ever fired a gun before, but he said he had it because he was afraid and another guy had one. I kind of did know that too. He said that nobody helped, and by the time EMS got there, he was already gone. After I had the reading and I waited a couple of days, and I text Free and I asked her, like, don't tell me anything else from his police report, but I want to know these specific questions. So I asked if he had been shot more than once, if anybody intervened at the scene to help him, and if he was gone before EMS got there. She confirmed all of that was true. Again, none of y'all would have known this, and it was never on Facebook, but she did confirm this stuff from the police report. So everything that the medium said that came from Mikey was true. But he did say he didn't feel any pain, and he was just gone that fast. And he was disappointed himself because he said he was going places like this never should have happened. He was going somewhere with life. He mentioned, like, he showed her the notebooks again, and he said that somebody did something that he thought was heartfelt after he died, and that it had to do with his notebooks. Nene, and she touched her shoulder. After he died, Nene did get his handwriting from one of his notebooks, and she had it tattooed on her shoulder. So that was true. She had the word license plates circled. I didn't know what the license plates mean, and it didn't ring a bell to me. I was like, license plates? Could he go in jail? Like, I don't know. And it didn't hit me till later on when I talked to Nene, and she said, my license plates, like, you and Nana got Mikey's name on your license plates after he died. And I was like, oh, you know, shit. So that was true about the license plates. She said, she mentioned a rap concert and that he wished he could have met Nelly. I'm like, I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But he mentioned that somebody was at a rap, he took me to a concert. Like, I'm at a concert, I'm assuming it's rap music. And he's saying, like, man, I wish I could have met Nelly. And why didn't she give my stuff to Nelly? Like, get my music out there. The BET Awards, after Mikey died, when Nene performed with So So Def, she performed on stage with Nelly. That was odd too. But again, you could have Googled that. I don't know. She mentioned him having a little brother in a headlock. She's like, he's showing me a little brother. Does he have a little brother? I said he has several siblings. I don't know. You tell me. And she was like, well, he's saying this is a little brother, the one that's closer to his age. Like, he has him in a headlock. He used to always take him everywhere with him. This is the one he was closest to. And he said, Mom, I want you to know I did the best I could with him, but he's going to be okay. That couldn't have been nobody but Nico. He mentioned a kid. She said, there's a little kid in your family, and I don't know if he had any kids or if there's another child, a little cousin or somebody, but it's a little kid in the family, and he's like rubbing his hair. He loves his hair. He keeps talking about how much he loves his hair, and he says he rubs his hair all the time at home. And whoever this kid is, does this kid talk to you about having dreams about him or anything like that? And I was like, no. He said, well, he's saying this kid, that he talks to this kid all the time, and he's always rubbing his hair because he loves his hair, and this kid loves cheeseburgers. That's Chan. Chan hasn't told me he had dreams about Mikey, but he does talk to him all the time. And Mikey used to always say, like, man, that boy got good hair. And I used to fuss at him and say, stop saying he got good hair. Everybody got good hair. And he's like, nah, that boy got some good hair. Mikey did love Chan's hair. So when she said that, it was like, I've never told y'all that. So how did she know? But she was like, yeah, he rubs his hair all the time. He said, I had to let go of the anger from his passing. Like, it's okay for me to be hurt, but the anger has to go. I have to let go of the anger or I can't heal. Sorry, I just had a bunch of notes that he wrote down. I'm not gonna mention that part about like the man that did this, because it's just, I don't know. He mentioned hanging out at a gas station. She's like, he's taking me to a gas station. Like, he hangs out at this. Does he hang out at a gas station, or did he used to hang out at a gas station? Of course, Mikey didn't live at home as an adult, so I didn't know. And I'm like, I don't know. But then after the fact, I talked to my mom and my sister and Nene, and they was like, yeah, the gas station right down the street from his house. He was always up there. He got like TikTok videos and stuff like that, and he was always at the gas station down the street from his house. So she mentioned him cooking. She's like, did he cook? And I said, everybody cooks. That's vague. She's like, no, like, he's showing me like cooking stuff, but it's like really crazy meals. It's like odd meals. And he said it used to piss you off that he would make stuff that to you did not make sense. It didn't go together. He used to piss me off. Like, during wrestling season, when he was trying to get his weight up, he would make a cheeseburger, like a big ass patty with bread on both sides. And then she was like, he's like putting jelly on top of a burger or something weird. And he did do that. He would make a burger and put like, it wasn't jelly, it was syrup, and then put a pancake on top of a cheeseburger. He called it the Terminator. He would always make stuff that didn't go together. She's like, Mom, he's showing me like noodles that he's putting weird stuff in it, and you would come home and fuss at him like, why would you put all this stuff together and do that? And he used to make the dumbest meals all the time. And I'm like, Mikey, that's disgusting. He was like, well, I mixed this and that, and if you add this to it to give it a little savory flavor, and he used to do it all the time. So that was accurate. And I've never said that on social media, so she couldn't have got that from y'all. She said he did this to her, like, when talking about me, and said that I was his queen, and that I was such a good mom. And even though we struggled a little bit growing up, I did the absolute best I could with him, and he always tried his best to like make me happy. Like, that was the one thing he took pride in, is doing stuff that made me proud of him. And that was so true. I don't know. It was crazy. It's like, I didn't get like a bunch of, it was just so many little things that this lady said that I knew came from Mikey. I know that I say a lot on social media, so any random person could go through my page over the past 2 years and get information and be like, you know, and tell me things. But there was things that I hadn't shared that she said to me that it was just like, whoa, like, that was crazy. My heart is a little bit more at ease. Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get over the anger of what happened to him, especially because he said himself, like, he was shocked. Like, he said he was like, wow, like, how did this happen? And my mom intuition knew that day that I was like, I bet he was just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, he didn't expect that to happen either. Like, he was shocked himself and disappointed that he died. Like, I knew that. I'm not ever gonna be like totally over the anger, especially like knowing all the circumstances and even stuff that this lady shared with me surrounding the circumstances of his death that I'm not gonna say, but things that I kind of knew in my heart. But to know that he didn't suffer, that he just kind of like, it was just an adrenaline rush. Next thing he knew, he was laying there like, damn, that man straight shot me. Like, he didn't feel any pain, and I believe that. So that kind of put my heart at ease that he didn't suffer, and that he was also disappointed that it happened. And so yeah, if y'all were like thinking about going to see a medium, her name was Jelaine Marie. I'll share her information like in the comments. But so that's how my reading went. I feel like I connected with my son. So all right, it's back to that crazy Wednesday again. That man ain't my president, okay? Fuck him. Under his eye. Have a good day, y'all.